In Tom Price, I met an ex-Dutch soldier travelling around Australia in a camper van. Eric had served in Bosnia and Afghanistan. He had lost soldier friends to suicide and had experienced the effects of post-traumatic stress syndrome himself. A turning point for him was when he used to do patrols around remote villages in Afghanistan. His translator would show the tribesmen a photo of the Twin Towers. No one ever recognised it. Like me, Eric rarely watched mainstream media now. We had some interesting discussions on media manipulation and the real motivation behind the war on terror. To his surprise, his trip was inspiring other ex-soldiers that there was life after conflict. Anthropologist Joseph Campbell found a common archetype across the myths and folklores of the world's cultures. He termed this monomyth the hero's journey, the idea that one must leave their ordinary life to take on a challenge, to face ordeals, and through this experience return back home with more understanding and meaning. We all hold on to concepts that we value dearly. For me, the idea of freedom has shaped my life and driven my desire to gallivant round the world like some ageless Peter Pan. Viktor Frankl's seminal book, Man's Search for Meaning, written from his experience surviving 3 years in a Nazi prison camp, believed we have an amazing capacity to survive the bleakest of situations, all dependent on the meaning we give our experiences. I feel this trip for me is like a transition from believing in freedom to believing in the need for responsibility. I'd made travel my god and now felt like a unicorn playing in the rain as the floodwaters rose around me. I felt the chief tenet of my life, being free, had now become untenable. I felt it was time to lay some roots, grow some veggies, and find someone to share that life with. In Perth, I'd met a guy who ran tours all around Australia. He told me Karijini National Park was the most beautiful, unique landscape he'd ever seen. Huge gorges divide the land, providing sustenance and painting a rich palette contrasting the red earth and the subtle greens, whites and yellows. But rain had arrived, a heavy downpour, closing many roads. I had to think about where I would camp for the night and decided to do a run to the Mungina Roadhouse and book a cabin. It pretty much rained all day. I was soaked to the bone. And to add to the fun of it all, the road was heavy with 4-carriage road trains. It was a pretty hardcore day of riding, but I had to ride on because out here there was nowhere else to stop. At one stage I shook my fist at the sky and shouted, "Is that all you've got?" I'd been here before. I knew I could handle it. I knew I would arrive at that roadhouse absolutely drenched, and after a long hot shower I would feel a true sense of being alive, of achievement, of being able to handle anything the road threw at me.